Hi everyone, this vid's about Psyche-Type and relationships, since the topic comes up often and is something all of us naturally want to know about. All relationships are defined by your Psyche-Type. To keep it simple, there are two types of relationships. These can be described as public or open, and private or intimate. Public relationships are those you can walk away from. These include workmates, friends, and in some cases even uncles, aunts, or a parent. Private relationships include family and partners, people you want to be with and stay close to, and it's these that I'm going to address here. A successful intimate relationship requires sacrifice, willingness to forego your need to be right, compromise, being able to compromise your values to accommodate another, maturity. Eventually, we all realize that friends are worth more than slaves. And, well, luck. That both parties are prepared to let go of persona and learn from each other. But above all of these is psychological compatibility, which can have a greater influence than all the others put together. So that we're all on the same page, let's start with a quick overview of the psyche. I'm going to use the example of INTP here, but the principles are the same for everyone. In your psyche, you have 8 mental functions. We all do. And your psyche type indicates which 4 of these you innately prefer. These are the 4 functions you use in your conscious mind, your conscious functions, collectively also known as your ego. Below the dotted line are the remaining 4 functions, which you have little control over because they are your unconscious functions. All types have 4 conscious functions and 4 unconscious functions. So here's a few additional examples, and you can fill in the boxes for your own type. There are many different naming systems for the positions of each function in the psyche. Numerically, primary, secondary, tertiary, and so on. By archetype, warrior, parent, child, etc. Dominant, auxiliary, tertiary is quite popular as well, and divided into pairs, the dominant and inferior pair. Different terms for the same structure, so use whichever you feel comfortable with. So, returning to the question of psychological compatibility, we focus on the ego or conscious functions, the first 4 functions in the psyche, the ones we use most. In intimate relationships, the number 1 compatibility is same conscious functions, but ideally in the opposite order. Got it? Same functions, opposite order. Opposite can be either same functions and same energy, for example, INTP and ISFJ. Both of these guys use TI, NE, SI, and FE, the relationship between which looks like this on our diagram. Alternatively, opposite order can also mean same functions and different energy, such as INTP and ESFJ, the relationship between which looks like this on our diagram. The second most important relationship compatibility is having the same perception functions. Why? Because your perception function is not controllable. Jung called perception irrational, whereas your judgment function is able to be moderated. Jung called it rational. Again, this comprises 2 options, either same perception, same energy, as in the case of ISTJ and ISFJ, for example, or same perception, different energy, as would be the case for ISTJ and ESFJ. These 2 compatibilities, same functions, opposite order, and same perception functions, make up over 80% of all intimate relationships. The last extremely important contributor is maturity. That's right, maturity, which is also why so many relationships fall apart. This doesn't mean that you get better as you get older. Maturity is not always a function of age. In this case, it is about whether you need to be right, making the other person wrong. Since wrong can mean not the same as me, then clearly when someone has a different viewpoint, we tend to make them wrong. This does not result in happy long-term relationships. When we get bogged down in our own ego, we become intolerant of the other person's values. So a person who knows their own mind but doesn't have to always be right will enjoy a better chance of a successful relationship both in public and private. Whether by luck or good management, people who know themselves and are tolerant of other people's values enjoy great relationships. Intimate relationships are analysed in the InterPersonality workshop and ebook You're My Type. Based on hundreds of interviews and biographies superimposed on Psyche-Type, we've analysed what works, why, and when it can come undone. Just as any relationship will fail when a deal breaker is introduced, any relationship can also succeed, so long as each person's values are honoured and maintained. Anyone can have a great relationship. Knowing who you are and what you can expect from your partner will make all the difference. You can send us your comments and questions below, and you can find out more about Psyche-Type in relationships at interpersonality.com.